Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace. Good evening, one and all. Big apologies about this stream taking so long to get uploaded tonight. YouTube themselves have been having major problems with their servers, so it's been holding everybody back. Please do us a massive favour and smash the like button and hit that share button as well. It's the very best way that you can support us here at the Football Terrace. Now, this is going to be a very turbulent summer for Manchester United fans, with City winning the Premier League, and of course, big congratulations to Liverpool yesterday for lifting their sixth Champions League title. The transfer window has never been so important for Man United, putting in place the foundations and the early building blocks to catch our major rivals is absolutely imperative. Man United as a football club is not dead. But from a footballing sense right now, we are nowhere near the elite level sides. A massive part of this transfer window is keeping hold of United's best players. And with Paul Pogba, the rumours keep circulating. And a major transfer rumour came out today. I know you've all had time to digest it. What we're here to do is to speak about the validity of it. A lot of people feel that Real Madrid, of course, chasing Eden Hazard, that's going to be their major signing. They're not going to be able to afford Eden Hazard and Paul Pogba all within one summer. What reports in Spain are suggesting, and we'll delve into them with a bit more detail in a few moments, is that Real Madrid are offering cash plus up to 3 players to Manchester United to try and soften that blow of losing the quality of Paul Pogba and to tempt our hands at selling, for me, what I would still consider our star asset aside from David De Gea. I'm in two minds about this deal. There's a part of me that thinks if Paul Pogba truly wants to leave, if Paul Pogba truly wants to move on, United have to go out there and gain the best deal possible for selling him. I understand you take swap players, but I still think taking cash is key. Equally, there's a part of me that feels United, although I don't like the idea of keeping players at the club that don't want to be there, I almost feel that losing Paul Pogba, along with many others that I believe will go in the next few weeks. Remember, pre-season starts in 35 days' time. So in the next month, we are going to see a number of stars leave. We know that Valencia and Herrera are going. It looks like Juan Mata's out the door. David De Gea could be going. To lose Paul Pogba at the same time, for me, could be absolutely catastrophic for Manchester United. Before they've even had the opportunity to rebuild for Ole, they could fall apart even further. And it's going to make the task more difficult. It steepens the hill. And it puts Man United even further behind the curve. It truly, truly does. Now, what did I do with my other, there it is, my other phone, which had the story on it, which I was then looking for. I could not remember where I put it down. So I want to jump into the story here in its detail. So the headline is Real Madrid make massive offer to Man United for Paul Pogba. It says Real Madrid are ready to offer Man United cash plus 3 players as bait as a bid to sign Paul Pogba during the transfer window. Zinedine Zidane, who returned to the Bernabeu earlier in the year, has identified Pogba as one of his priority signings and is putting pressure on Real to secure his signature. Pogba has made no secret of his affection for both Zidane and Real Madrid and is said to be open to a move to the Spanish capital after a turbulent season at Old Trafford. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah. We don't need to know about any of that. It is claimed that President Perez is keen to avoid a straight cash payment for Pogba, instead favouring to offset his price by using between 1 to 3 Real Madrid stars as bait. Ideally, for Real Madrid, the player to join Man United as part of the Paul Pogba switch would be Gareth Bale, who is no longer part of Zidane's plans. And that would make huge sense from a Real Madrid point of view, because they would remove remove a player that Zidane doesn't like and doesn't fancy and doesn't want to keep. Equally, it would remove a huge amount of wages from their bill. You're talking £400,000+ per week would be removed and given to another club as an example, and probably millions of pounds a year in medical bills as well. So it would make complete sense for that to happen. But Real Madrid are also reportedly considering offering James Rodriguez and Navas to the Red Devils boss Ole Gunnar Solskjær. The Colombian international Rodriguez spent the 2018-19 season on loan at Bayern Munich, and while Neves acted as Thibaut Courtois' deputy for the majority of the campaign. If Perez successfully lures Pogba to Real Madrid, the Frenchman is likely to join Eden Hazard at the Bernabeu. Hazard has seemingly played his last game in England, with Real Madrid agreeing, this is an interesting report, an £88 million deal for the Premier League star. So it's interesting, really. Would you rather 3 players and no cash for Paul Pogba? Would James Rodriguez, Navas and Gareth Bale be a good swap for Paul Pogba? For me, I'm going to be really blunt. They don't want any of those players. They want them off their books for numerous reasons. I would ask for some. I'd say, look, give us 60 million plus those 3 players and maybe we could talk. That's the only way I would look at this. We've still got a substantial amount of cash that we could reinvest in another player, but we get the creativity of James Rodriguez, you get a very good goalkeeper in Navas, and you get Gareth Bale, who, as long as you're not paying stupid money for him, could be okay. I'm actually looking at this silver lining point of view from the most positive angle possible. Ideally, though, that wouldn't be it. And as the Reals Latin says, from my point of view, same as you, £150 million, I'd go back. And you want Pogba, you pay top dollar for him. And then you can really invest that money in players that you feel are going to benefit and progress the team further. That's what I would do personally. Brendan said Real Madrid can't spend 150 million on Pogba. They have to offer other players. Exactly. Man United need to negotiate well here. A few people here saying James Rodriguez would be immense. Look, I like James Rodriguez. I feel a bit sorry for him in many ways. He's a player that everybody writes off now and nobody's talking about because the buzz and the hype isn't there. But he's still young enough to turn his career around and get back to the very best James Rodriguez that we've seen. Andrew here says, getting rid of Pogba for an injury-riddled Gareth Bale is ludicrous, if you ask me. Oh, mate, listen, as a straight swap deal, absolutely. But if it was just Gareth Bale, if Man United got 90 million plus Gareth Bale, or maybe 100 million plus Gareth Bale, I don't know if I'd be overly concerned about that. What I would be concerned about is if we did like a straight swap or crazy straight, or only 20, 30 million plus Gareth Bale, or if we sold Pogba for 100 million and we spent 50 million quid of it signing Bale, it would make no sense. If they truly want him, we've got whatever we do, we've got to negotiate better. But equally, we have to raise money for the sale of Pogba because Paul Pogba's position needs replacing, and it doesn't matter if Gareth Bale never gets another injury again. It doesn't matter if he bangs in 30 goals a season for Man United. That's not a replacement for Paul Pogba. Different positions, you know. Pogba is done or else he leaves on a free. There's a super chat here. This is after Liverpool LFC win. Are we still the biggest club in the UK? Well, look, I think in terms of Europe, we know Liverpool are the most successful club in the UK. I mean, it's an obvious, it's a fact, and nobody's ever disputing that. Domestically, Man United have won the most. That's an absolute fact. Overall trophies, Man United have won the most. Globally, Man United have more of a fan base. They have more of an income. They have more of an income due to the size of the football club. So, biggest is still Man United. It's factual. The best right now is by far and away Liverpool, and nobody can deny that. So I think it's one of those things for me where let's not get caught up in the moment here. It's as simple as that. The better team right now are Liverpool, but Man United are still bigger. It's simple as that. It says here Liverpool are catching up to Man United very fast with their income. They are catching Man United up with their income. And a lot of clubs are, but every time the team gets near United, United extend theirs further. Where Man United do need to be careful, and you're right in terms of income, is that because United haven't been a force for 6, nearly 7 years now, the income won't grow as quickly as that of the likes of Liverpool and Manchester City. So it's now imperative that the club starts to address that. And it's okay getting these big commercial deals, but they'll start to wane if the club doesn't improve footballing wise. So there's no doubt about that, absolutely. Gareth Bale will be a bad signing. We need to get Pepe. I understand why people... I'm not sold on the Gareth Bale deal. There's no doubt about it. 100 million and bow for Pogba. That seems very unlikely considering Madrid have midfielders just as good as Paul Pogba already. Look, that's your opinion and your viewpoint. What we're talking about here is supposedly what Zinedine Zidane wants. And if Zidane believes that Paul Pogba is the man, go and get him at any cost, then it's conceivable. It's whether or not you believe Real Madrid truly want Pogba to that degree. It's as simple as that. Jose Mourinho to Newcastle would have me rolling. That'd be an interesting one, wouldn't it? Brendan here says this summer is make or break for Ole if he doesn't deliver on his promises. What do you mean if Ole doesn't deliver on his promises? These kind of comments, mate, are ludicrously poor. And I'll tell you as to why. Although he's going to get a final say on who comes in and who goes out, if Woodward and the board don't land the players he wants, how is Ole responsible? If Woodward and co don't find the buyers for the players that Ole wants to get rid of and get off the wage bill before they can sign people, how is that Ole's fault? You know, if your company doesn't deliver supplies to your offices, can you do your job? If your management at your job tomorrow foul you and do not give you the adequate tools to do your job to the best level, would you be happy to get the sack for that? Would you be happy to be criticised for that? Think about it. And as Harry Jones here says, when has he ever made promises? He hasn't. He said, what promises has he made? And equally, to deliver his promises, he needs backing. And backing doesn't just mean spending money. And we have to move away from this narrative that, oh, we had loads of money spent on you, that's backing. No, it's not. It really isn't. Kobe here, hang on, let's go back to Brendan's comment. He says he did make promises. Ole promised to rebuild with young players. Yeah, okay. Rebuild with young players. So how long is it? That means he's got a year then. If he's going to rebuild with young players, why is it make or break in this transfer window? That's you as a rival, or you as someone who's trying to drum up issues for Ole, contradicting yourself, mate. If you're going to rebuild with youngsters, you can't have one transfer window that's make or break. That makes zero sense. It means you have to give those youngsters time to develop. And I spoke about this last night, and I'll speak about it again. The 3 clubs in England that are doing the best are the 3 that have given their managers time, full backing, financially and control-wise, and support to develop. The 3 that are now starting to struggle more are your Chelsea's, Arsenal's and Man United's that have been far more trigger-happy. He says here, because signing Bale, Neves and Rodriguez are not young players. Okay. So this is a Spanish report saying that Real Madrid are going to offer these 3 players. Has Ole said he wants them? Is this who Ole's going after? This is what we're here to debate. And just because you also could sign 3 experienced players, it doesn't mean you're not building a squad full of youngsters as well. What if he signs those 3 players, but he also has 6 or 7 youngsters and academy players developing next year and ripping up trees? Then what? Like, come on. Look at it from outside the box that you're sitting in, because you're being so narrow-minded with your viewpoint on this. So narrow-minded. It's crazy. Equally, as B.O. says, you know, Madrid's outcasts, and I agree with that to an extent as well. The biggest issue I probably have with signing these players is if they're not wanted by Real Madrid, why should we have them? You know, I would rather us cash in on Paul Pogba and then spend the money buying younger players and buying players that are on their way to being some of the best in Europe. As people have mentioned, your Pepes, your Jadon Sanchos, the likes of João Felix, Bruno Fernandes. That's where I'd rather spend it. Personally, that's my view. But in terms of the Ole situation, remember, this time last year, everybody was kicking off at Jose Mourinho. And then we found out that the club didn't back him. The club didn't allow him to sign and sell the players that he wanted to. And that's what I don't want. But by the way, again, this isn't a defending of Jose Mourinho. The way he behaved was abhorrent and he deserved to be sacked. Categorically, he did. But equally, if we go, I've said it all summer, we hear some really good rumours and some really good messages that the club is starting to change, and then we read additional ones that are the complete opposite to that and go against it. The proof will be in the pudding. And when we get that, I'm not judging and assessing the overall situation until we get all the facts. Because far too often now what we do is we react in the moment to these situations at Man United without reflecting on why things may have happened. And I think we need to be very careful when it comes to that. Someone says, Terry, thoughts on Sarri leaving Chelsea? Listen, I spoke about it the other day, and I don't care how they try and dress this up. Sarri's been sacked. You don't need to be sacked in life sometimes in terms of told you're fired to be sacked. Constructive dismissal exists. Being forced out and managed out is an industry term used across multiple business and sporting industries. And that's what's happened to him. He's been managed out of the organisation. He has managed to find himself another job. Chelsea are being very clever, though. They're not going to sack him when other clubs are hunting around him. They're going to wait for the compensation to be paid to them. But they've systematically done that. And I told you, I spoke to an old private bank manager of mine that I used to work with. And Sarri's representatives spoke to him a number of weeks ago about talking about sending his UK financial assets outside of the UK and back to Italy next year, because they believed that he was going to be moving on. They believed he was going to be sacked. And turns out this was financial people as well, the sort of IFAs that are involved with a lot of Sarri's money. So we knew this was coming. I got ridiculed massively for saying this, but at the end of the day, the person that told me this wouldn't just make it up. It's as simple as that. And I feel sorry for Sarri. Chelsea, I think Chelsea could end up dropping a bollock here. They really, really could. And it'd be funny if they do. Let's go back. Someone said I missed a super chat. I think I may have done. Where is it gone? Let's go back. Here we go. It's from Baz1, who says, we need to assess the probability of getting our targets before accepting those players in swap deals. Absolutely, Baz, you're right. And in terms of accepting those players in the swap deal, do they fit? Do they fit what Ole Gunnar Solskjær wants? If they don't, then you say no to it. If they don't fit, we don't think they can play the style of football that we want to play, don't buy them. Man United have done that so much. And if you listen again, LVG has been talking about the situation again, and that he not being run by football men. They were buying him players, they were buying Jose players that the manager didn't want, that they didn't feel fit the system. So everybody can sit there, oh, you spent 500, 600, 700 million. Great, but not on players that's actually more embarrassing, because the club is spending all this money on players that the manager's coaching don't want. That's the target, is to buy who the managers want to fit their systems. If Ole gets, over the next year or two, all the players he wants, complete control, can sell who he wants, and doesn't improve the team in any way, shape or form, he has no one else to blame but himself. But if they sign targets that he doesn't want, if they keep players that he wants out of the squad, if they have too much control over what Ole says and does, then he's bound to fail. Everybody in nearly every single industry in the world would fail in that same situation. And look, I said it before, I don't care what rivals think about the situation, because 90% will not look at it from an objective point of view and truly assess what's wrong with Man United. They'll just talk about Ole at the wheel. They'll just throw salt. It'll just be about banter. Like I did with Spurs last night. I ain't attacking Spurs, but I'm speaking it for real. And do you know what? The words I was using about cowardice, about having a weak mentality, about celebrating just getting to the final and being happy with that. The amount of Spurs fans I've seen on social media today, and I'm not talking about some dude with an egg as a profile and 2 followers. I'm talking about genuine people that have their names and their life on their profile. They're real. All saying the same thing, that if we Spurs want to become a great club, our mentality's got to go from here to there. We've got to expect more, demand more, and push the team to deliver more. And that's the right thing to do. So, when you're going to assess a rival's team, you need to be open and honest. And it's why when it comes to the Ole situation, I find it laughable when I hear rival fans speak about it, because they want it to go wrong so they can say, your legend failed. What they won't do at any moment is look at how they failed Ole. Because it's always very quick and easy to blame managers. We're never looking at how clubs are run. And although, listen, Klopp and Pep and Poch have done amazing jobs. They have done amazing jobs at those football clubs, and they deserve so much credit. But the way Liverpool, City and Tottenham are run is second to none. The way Bournemouth, the way Wolverhampton Wanderers are run is second to none. And it's why, on a ratio point of view, those clubs are some of the best run clubs in the world. It's why they're punching above their weights in some cases and now delivering and winning the biggest trophies in the world, because they are run the best. And if your club is run like shit, if your club is run by cowboys, if your club is run with no principles, no structure, no direction, it doesn't matter who is in charge, it is going to continually fail. That's why it doesn't matter that LVG and Jose were here. It failed. Doesn't matter why at Chelsea now, no matter how good the manager is, even with the bit of success they've had. By the way, they have spent more money in the last 3 years than Manchester City by about 40, 50 million. They're winning FA Cups and they're winning Europa Leagues, but for the amount of money they're spending, they should be challenging for league titles. Why are they not? Because the club is run like shit. Simple and as straightforward as that. And look, without Eden Hazard in the mix, they may not have even won those trophies. They just had an absolute top class player. But there we go. Listen, the deal may happen, the deal may not happen, but it's worth discussing. Take care of yourselves. God bless, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.